Welcome back to the Mini Fincher channel. As promised, we will be talking about Lady Gouldian Finches in this episode. To tell you frankly, among the fancy finches that I have, Gouldian Finches were the last ones that I acquired. I got a little intimidated after asking around and learning that these birds were a bit sensitive and challenging to take care of. But because I really wanted to have these birds in my aviary, I researched about them and decided to purchase a few pairs to keep and take the challenge of breeding them. Fortunately, the pairs that I got didn't have to adjust that long as they lay their eggs after just a few weeks. They also do not get stressed out easily and would even allow me to check on their nest from time to time. Anyway, let's get started. Gouldian finches are these very colorful birds, prized primarily for its gorgeous plumage. They are also known as Lady Gouldian Finch, Goldfinch, and Rainbow Finch. In 1841, English ornithologist John Gould named this impressive little bird after his late wife, Lady Elizabeth Gould, and decreed them the most beautiful finch in the world. Like most of the finches being kept as pets, these birds are native to the grasslands of Australia, which is also why they do not do well in cold, windy, and wet climates. Because of its appealing colors and personality, they became very popular cage birds, and the demand to get them increased overseas, prompting massive exports of the Gouldians in the 1960s. It is also believed that the population of these finches in the wild has dropped dramatically during the 20th century. Today, it is estimated that there are fewer than 2,500 mature Gouldians living in the wild. Fortunately, they are heavily bred in captivity, so they aren't endangered yet, although Gouldians are still classified as near threatened at this time. As with most finches, the Gouldian is a quiet enough bird that sings a little. They make a pleasant sound that is doubtful to wake you up or create a problem with your neighbors. They are lovely to watch but not to hold. They don't like to be held and can even panic and die when handled. Most of them get easily stressed, which can also be deadly for these fragile birds. If properly cared for, these birds are reported to live for more than 4 to 6 years, which is quite a short lifespan compared to the other hardy fancy finches. Gouldians aren't the easiest finches to keep and aren't recommended for newbies because they are delicate, can get sick in extreme temperatures, and are prone to a variety of ailments, which often leads to death. Gouldian finches can also be susceptible to scaly face, colds, and are prone to air sac mite infection, especially when overly stressed. This is a serious medical condition that warrants immediate care. They are small, passive, and sociable that they make great aviary birds. They do well in a mixed aviary and will get along with other peaceful birds such as munias, owl finches, mass finches, and society finches, just to name a few. To avoid common ailments, some breeders prefer keeping their cages indoors so temperature can be easily controlled. Another option is to have a heating lamp at night or during cold weather. In my case, the breeders that I got are used to being kept in outdoor enclosures, so I just cover their cages with a towel during the cold season. These birds are primarily seed eaters, but I noticed that they prefer a mix of white millet, panicum, and canary seeds. They should also get a rotation of grubs, greens, egg food, and other veggies daily. Aside from these, you can also give them a small amount of grit and charcoal in their diet. And of course, a cuttlebone should be in the cage at all times. In the wild grassland of Australia, where they originate, they do not vary as much in color as they do in captivity. There, most Gouldians have green backs and a black head, and only a small percentage have a red head. Approximately 1% of wild individuals have an orange head, and almost all of them have a turquoise band behind their heads and a light green coloration toward the sides of these bands. Most of the wild Gouldians have yellow bellies that fades to white, and according to researchers, red-headed bulls are more aggressive compared to the black-headed mutations. Now, aside from the greenbacks, In captivity, selective breeding has also developed a number of new mutations like blues, yellows, silvers, lutinos, dilutes, pastels, and a whole lot more. The Gouldian is dimorphic, meaning that there's a visible difference between the genders. Immature Gouldian finches are a drab, greenish-gray color or light yellow before they start molting, so it can be quite difficult to determine their gender at this time. Juveniles will start molting in 4 to 6 months and will be easier to sex after full molt. During this time, these birds are under a great deal of physical stress, so take extra care and avoid handling them for they can easily get sick or even die at this stage. Both sexes are brightly colored with black, green, yellow, and red markings, but males of this species have much brighter plumage, particularly on the chest and belly area compared to the females, who tend to be less brightly colored, making them easy to tell apart at maturity. In normal mutations, one major difference between the sexes is that the male's chest is purple while the female's is a lighter mauve or lilac. The turquoise band on the heads of the males are also brighter and more distinct. Lastly, only males sing and dance by hopping in front of the females during mating. Honestly, Gouldians are among the most difficult finches to breed successfully because aside from the proper environment and temperature, they are very sensitive to stress. They can be bred in a colony setup or individual breeding cages. Finches need a lot of exercise, so a 17 by 30 cage is recommended for each pair to keep them in good breeding condition. But as my regular viewers know, I only use 12 by 17 cages for my breeders due to limited space. Luckily, they still breed and produce eggs in this setup. To better understand what I mean and for more information on this, I suggest you watch these episodes too. Actually, captive bred Gouldians are not wonderful parents and have a tendency to abandon or drop both eggs and babies or even refuse to nest at all. But then again, some Gouldian pairs do make decent parents too. However, for me, the success rate are much higher when I let my society finches foster the eggs and chicks. It's advisable to provide your birds a substantial supply of nesting materials since these birds prefer building deep covered nests that will prevent human inspections. Unlike zebra finches, gold should be at least a year old before they are bred. Mating begins when the cock starts singing and dancing to attract the hen's attention. One thing I noticed though with them is that when they are ready to breed, they flap and shake their feathers a lot, more so with the hens. Beaks of the males turn pearl white and female beaks turn charcoal black when they reach breeding maturity. The hen lays an average of 4 to 7 eggs that both parents or foster parents incubate alternately for the next 2 weeks. As discussed in episode 22, by looking at the nodules or mouth markings of the chicks, you should be able to tell what their base colors will be when they mature. About 3 weeks later, the babies are ready to leave the nest, and about 2 weeks after that, they are eating on their own and may be considered to be separated from their parents. The baby should be served millet spray, greens, egg food or chick booster, as well as other soft foods that they can digest easily. So this concludes the series wherein we discuss basic infos about some of the fancy finches that I have here in my aviary. I also want to thank our subscribers and viewers from here and abroad for the continued support. As I mentioned, I also get numerous requests to create some episodes in English, which is why I will be re-editing some of my videos to have English voiceovers, just like this one. And hopefully you can just ignore my lips not matching the words that I'm saying right now. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I encourage you to do so. Please like and or share this too if you like this episode, and hit the notification bell as well so that you will be informed whenever I upload new videos on this channel. And until then, see you next time.